Okay, so this video is meant to be a tour of the syllabus. Just so we're on the same page, this video will provide a brief overview of the syllabus. I highly suggest that you read the syllabus on your own and refer to it throughout the semester so that you're clear on the structure, on the format, and the expectations of this course. So as you already know, this is consumer and industrial buying behavior. We'll focus a bit more on the consumer side because there's a lot more information that I think makes sense to both consumers and to kind of retail consumers and then also industrial consumers. I think the information kind of holds for both groups when you look at the consumer behavior side. So this class is asynchronous, as you know. It is 7.5 weeks, which means we will have a total of 14 classes, and then you will have a day to turn in your final projects and your take-home exam. My name is Dr. Cassandra Davis. Although this class is asynchronous, you should know that I post material on Tuesdays and Thursdays after 5 p.m. And so the modules will be placed after 5 p.m. So be ready for that. On this page, you can see the course objectives. There are 5 of them. I try to start this class by when I build the class by creating or determining the course objectives, as well as each lecture objective and each objective for the assignment, to make sure that they all feed back into the course objectives. So things that I want you to be able to take away. I want you to be able to kind of have a rough definition of consumer behavior and why it's beneficial to marketing. I want you to know some consumer psychology principles, to have them in your back pocket so that you can pull them out if and when you need to, both as a consumer yourself and then as you're being or acting in the kind of realm of a marketer, right? Ultimately, we're all marketers. We market ourselves, we market other things, we market our ideas and our thoughts, we market products, we market services all the time. And so having this toolbox, I believe, is pretty beneficial. I want you to be able to evaluate a marketing campaign from a consumer's perspective. I'd like you to be able to, again, take those psychological principles, not just know them, but take them and be able to apply them. And then last but not least, I'd like you to be able to kind of propose and design a basic study to look at consumer attitudes, cognitions, behaviors, so on and so forth. So I want you to have a full overview of what consumer behavior is by the time we leave each other, or we part ways, I should say. I also think it's really important to make sure that the class kind of falls under the umbrella of what the market says that you should know. And I usually look to see what the market says, what skills and kind of information or knowledge that you should have by looking at practitioner information. So that could be Harvard Business Review. In this case, as you can see from this page, I looked at the New York Times, and then a website called Poets and Quants for those who are familiar with it. It's a website that's basically that basically looks at what is important for MBA students to know, what the best schools are, what the best classes are, so on and so forth. And so I try to pull information from there, those sources or those types of sources to kind of help guide what this course should look like. In terms of communication, I've already mentioned this idea. Our class will be fully virtual. That will mean that we will basically be able to talk to each other via email for the most part. And so know that email is critical. I don't expect you to be available 24 hours a day, but I also don't expect you to only check your email, twice a month. If so, you might miss some pretty important information. When it comes to readings and information or materials for this course is a little interesting. I don't require any outside material. Everything that you receive or everything you need will be provided for the most part by me. I will use a mix of practitioner articles where I will give you a link to the article. I'm going to use academic articles. So, it could be from an academic journal or HBR. If I do that, I will either send you or provide an electronic copy of that article, or I will provide a link so that you can get it for yourself, or I will link you to Wayne State's library so that you can go through the library system and get that for yourself. Some of our assignments will focus on certain specific material. So, for example, our first assignment will use the book Made to Stick. You will not need to buy this book. I will give you the first chapter, which is really all you'll need for our assignment. I do, though, suggest that you think about buying the book, or at least finding a way, either through the library or some other means, to read the book on your own. It tends to be pretty influential. In terms of technology, you need to have high-speed internet for this course. You also need Microsoft Office, which is available to you for free from Wayne State. All you need to do is go through our CNIT department, and you can actually download it from there. Do not turn in any assignments using Google Docs or Apple, whatever. I will only take assignments that are written out in, let's say, Microsoft Word, if that's what, if the assignment needs some kind of typing. I will say that living in Michigan, I'm not from Michigan, but living in Michigan, I have been here and I've seen the power outages in Michigan. I recommend that you not wait until the last minute to complete an assignment. We know that the weather can be interesting, and that the power lines can be interesting. And so if you wait until the last minute and you aren't able to complete an assignment, I probably am not going to push a deadline back. So make sure that you're well aware of what's due when, and that you allow yourself ample time to go ahead and get that taken care of, those assignments taken care of. I also will be having a Canvas tour, so I'll discuss Canvas and course management. Feel free to reach out to me if anything in the tour or that tour or this one confuses you. I'll do my best to answer any questions. On this page, I would like to focus on two pieces of information. First, the FAQs. So this year I'm doing something different. I included a frequently asked questions page. The frequently asked questions will be questions that are sent to me from your peers, you and your peers. If you have a question, I will go ahead and put it under the frequently asked questions, because there's a very good chance that if you have that question, then other people will have that question and they may not ask it, but they might have it. My suggestion is that you check the frequently asked questions page a few times, throughout the semester, and definitely check it before you turn in any assignments, just to make sure that you have all the information and you see all the questions that other people may have asked. The other thing that I want to talk about is artificial intelligence. We are at a really interesting point in history where artificial intelligence is moving pretty fast. I think I mentioned this, that some people and philosophers and futurists have said that they expect us to reach singularity. I think, pretty quickly is what they're saying, by like 2045, I think, according to one person. I just don't see how we get away from incorporating artificial intelligence. We know that marketers are using it already. We know that companies are using it already. I'm using it already. You are too. And when I say I am, I can just think of normal things that I do. If I call my phone service provider, right, their customer service agent, typically they first start out with some form of artificial intelligence. So when I'm chatting with the chatbot, that's artificial intelligence. If I get on Amazon and I'm buying something, artificial intelligence recommends new products to me or other products, right? They call those recommendation agents. I look at the recommendation agent. The other thing that I tend to do is I tend to use artificial intelligence to help figure out whether or not the reviews that I see on Amazon are correct, right? Or if they're truthful or fraudulent. So when I'm looking for a product on Amazon, if I'm interested in the product, I often will open something like fakespot.com and plug in the website, and it'll tell me if the reviews for that product are likely fraudulent or if they're likely kind of realistic. I also use artificial intelligence when I use something like camel. When I say, hey, tell me when this product goes below a certain price, right? I think a lot of us are scared of AI because it's unknown and there are so many new things going on or possibilities with it. But when we think about the fact that we're using it all the time already, I think that should kind of help us out a lot in terms of easing some discomfort. That said, I am an academic. And I don't necessarily believe in using AI for academic work. I don't do that personally. However, I do think it's important to know how to use AI. I definitely think it's important if you're a marketer or when you go into the office to know how to use AI because companies are going to use it. They're going to use it to save money, to save time, so on and so forth. I think one big concern for me, I don't know about the rest of you, is the impact that AI will have on jobs. So yes, if marketing companies are using and brands are using AI now, does that mean that they're going to get rid of their marketing sales force? Or are they going to get rid of kind of their advertising agency, so on and so forth? We already see places like McDonald's that are being built and everyone in there is using, or the entire McDonald's is nothing but robots. What happens then if we become a nation or a world that's ran by robots? Anyway, I don't want to shy too much away from artificial intelligence. And so, what you'll see is that I have incorporated artificial intelligence into this course. I do want to let you know, though, because Wayne State wants me to let you know, that I am incorporating AI under very specific circumstances. If you happen to use AI outside of those circumstances, and you are caught, then that is considered academic dishonesty. At a bare minimum, you will receive a failing grade for this course. However, the kind of results of that could be, or impact of that could be worse, right? You could have the fact that you had an academic dishonesty issue on your transcript, and you could also be expelled from Wayne State. So be careful about using AI in this course, and definitely be careful about using AI in other courses, particularly courses where the professor says upfront, no AI for this class. I'm not going to spend too much time on this particular page. I do want to let you know two things. One, this is a private recording. Please do not record a copy of this recording, and please do not share a copy of this recording with others. That goes against Wayne State's conduct. It also goes against kind of my expectations. If, however, you need a recording specifically for yourself, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to just use what I have posted online. But if you do need to do so, please contact the Disability Services Center. Also, make sure you contact them if you have a disability so that you let me know so that I'm able to adjust the class for you and your needs. The other thing that I want to mention is about syllabus changes. The syllabus is an agreement between the two of us. It is essentially a contract. For that reason, I'm going to do my absolute best to hold what is currently on the syllabus flat and stay consistent throughout the entire semester. That hardly ever works though, because as you know, different things pop up. And because of this reason, I reserve the right to change the syllabus at any point in time. If I do change the syllabus, I will make sure that it is posted in the weekly announcements. A message is posted in the weekly announcements. However, you need to make sure that you're aware of that, regardless of whether that means that you need to make sure that you have um, that you read the announcements every week, that you have the alert if a new announcement pops up, whatever it is that you need to do, make sure that you stay current on in terms of the expectations for this course. Wayne State has a number of services to help you on your journey throughout your time here at Wayne. We have the Academic Success Center, the Writing Center. They even have a technology zone now. And they also offer library assistance. If you need any of these services, I highly recommend that you reach out. They are all fabulous. I've used them before. In terms of religious observance, Wayne obligates me to make sure that you understand that because our student body is very diverse and in some ways more diverse than a lot of student bodies around the country, there are a lot of people who have various kinds of religious observance. And we are encouraged to maintain Wayne's normal academic calendar, which is what I do. You can look through the course schedule and you will see that I basically just kind of go with whatever Wayne tells us in terms of the expectations for the courses. Do know, though, that there are 2 days that we will not have classes this semester. One is during fall break, the week of fall break. You will have something due, I think. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, but we definitely will not be having a lecture. And then we also have a project work day for you to work on your last project for the class. And then I also give the day of our exam off so that you can work on the exam. Okay, so for a breakdown in grades, your grades are as follows. Our weekly lecture quizzes are a total of 180 points. Our nudge assignment is a total of 480 points. I think that's 80. Yeah, 80 points. And then our take home exam is a total of 340 points. So the class is out of approximately 1,000 points. We don't have too many assignments. I don't think. We have one major assignment. The weekly lecture questions are open-ended questions that really try to get you to think about the material. One thing to know about the weekly lectures, the weekly lecture quizzes, is that they are worth a total of 20 points each. There are 12 of them. However, I drop your lowest 3 scores. So your lowest 3 quiz scores, I drop those. Yeah, those are the main things to know. I suggest you read the rest of this slide, though, or this portion of the syllabus. I think it's pretty important, and it describes kind of my philosophy, at least on grading. Okay, so here is a tentative class schedule. I won't go over the entire schedule, but a few things I do want to point out. As I said, the class starts on Tuesday, August 26th, and you will see from the schedule we start on August 26th, and every other day, for the most part, is a Tuesday or Thursday. We do have a project work day. I believe that's in week, 4, at the beginning of week 4, so about halfway throughout the semester. Please keep that in mind for your planning purposes. This is an asynchronous class, so it's difficult to find a time that works for everyone. I, however, will try to stick by my computer as much as possible on that day, just in case you have any questions that you want to email me about, or if you want to set up a Zoom meeting or something like that. We can definitely do that. I'll put that in the announcements going forward. All of the weekly lecture quizzes are due 1 week after they are given to you. So the first one that you receive on the 26th is on the 26th, obviously, of August. September 2nd is when that will be due, and that follows throughout the entire semester. Do note, however, that the nudge assignment and the take-home exam are due on the same day. That's the day that you would normally have a final. Also note that during week 7, our last class, I'm actually going to give you that time off to take to write up your take-home exam if you choose to do so. All right. Okay, so you can find out about the weekly lecture assignments on the homepage. You can click the button that says weekly lecture assignments, and this will pop up. But I also wanted to put it in the syllabus to just kind of emphasize that this is something that's happening. I talk about in the assignment itself, I talk about the purpose of the assignment's objective, to add to your understanding of consumer behavior by allowing you to apply concepts, principles, theories, so on and so forth, as well as your growth and real world issues surrounding those things. So what you'll be doing in a lot of cases is applying the information that is spoken about to your own life, or thinking about ways that you can apply the information to real world situations. That's what most of the assignments will be about. I'll describe the assignments a little bit more as we go on. So I have a list of course objectives that this aligns with, right? So everything that I do in this class, I link it back to the course objectives. This assignment links to the course objectives, and these are the specific objectives it links to. I'm not going to discuss this too much. You can always go to the home page and click the weekly lecture assignment tab under the, or link under the assignments tab, or assignments section, I should say. But the one thing I want to reiterate, that I've reiterated, that I've said a couple times now, is that the lecture quizzes are worth a total of 20 points. I dropped the lowest 3 that you have. I do ask that you not send me an email asking me if I can open the quizzes back up. The answer to that is going to be no, because I dropped the lowest 3, which I think is pretty generous. Go ahead and read over this and let me know if you have any questions. I did want to give you an example of what the lecture quizzes look like. When you click on the link for the quiz sections, it will pop up and look something like this. You will see instructions at the top, and the instructions are basically twofold. One, it tells you that for every open-ended question that you see, you should write at least 6 full sentences to answer the question. You can write more, no worries there. You can write as much as you want. Just don't write less than 6. Don't write less than 6 full sentences. And then 2, make sure that you make it to the absolute end of the lecture video, because you need to hit submit at the bottom of the screen. If you don't hit submit, there's a chance that your lecture grade will not, or your lecture question and answer response will not be recorded, and so you won't get credit for it. So make sure you do those 2 things. You should know that I start off every lecture quiz and every lecture, regardless of whether there's a quiz or not, with a front page with Star Trek Deep Space Nine, because I love this show. So yeah, FYI for all of us. Okay, so this is just rounding out the example. This is what an example question may be, and then this is the space that you're giving to respond. You'll read the question and again respond. Again, 6 full sentences at least. Make sure that you hit submit at the end of the lecture video, or your grade may not record. I want to make sure I emphasize that. This is a very important slide. I'm not going to go over everything in the slide. I'm going to let you read some of it, but this is a very important slide. I start off in this slide talking about the guidelines for written assignments. I am going to hold you to this. When you turn in your final exam, when you turn in your nudge assignment, everything needs to be written in APA style. You need to have 1-inch margins, 12-point Times New Roman font. Extra credit, I do not offer extra credit to a single individual. Please do not ask me to offer you extra credit. Assignments. Assignments may be made or amended at any class meeting, so be sure that you listen to the lecture recording. It does talk about being late or absent. This is still true, right? This is an online class. You will listen to lecture recordings, and yet people are still late and or absent, right? So if I have a lecture recording that comes on Monday and you don't get to it until the following Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, you are technically late. However, again, remember, hard deadline for when I start tacking on a 15% grade penalty, which let me discuss that because it's really important. As I said in the Canvas tour, all assignments are accepted late without penalty for up to 4 days after the due date. You have a 4-day grace period. However, after the 4th day, I will assess 15 percentage points per day, and I am dang strict about it. Okay. I also will not allow any late work after 8 days. I do not do makeup exams. The circumstances would have to be, I say extreme, but I mean nuclear. I do not do makeup exams. Okay? That's what you need to know. All right. So, important slide or important page, make sure you pay attention to it. I am not going to give you the hard sell on academic dishonesty because you're graduate students. You already know what graduate academic dishonesty is. I will say, though, that you should carefully read the portion of the syllabus that talks about withdrawals. Um, Students do withdraw, right? Maybe it's because of your health or your family or because of your grades. The one thing that I will make sure that you know, though, is that if you are caught cheating, you will not be allowed to withdraw from this class. You must take the failing grade or worse. So make sure you're aware of that when you're trying to determine kind of what withdrawals look like if you find yourself in need of a withdrawal. Mac finally got the ability to record PowerPoints, and so this is my first time using Mac for this reason, and so I'm a little slower. Um, the next two pages talk about student support services. I want to go ahead and discuss those with you really quickly. We have our Student Disability Services Office. I, again, highly suggest you go by there as soon as possible, if need be, so that you can get the proper paperwork in order and let me know as soon as possible if you need accommodations. We also have CAPS, so Counseling and Psychological Services. Please know that if you are having a crisis, CAPS offers an after hours and a weekend crisis support line. And there are two numbers for people who are on campus and people who are off campus. In a life threatening emergency, they also give you the number for campus police. Please feel free to use these services. I like to tell students that you are paying for these services. If you need these services, please use them. I'd like to believe that we are now not totally, this is not totally true, but we are in a portion of life and in the world where um, mental health is taken more seriously and it is less stigmatized. And so, you know, do what's best for you. We want you to be well. Not only myself, your family, your friends, your loved ones. Wayne State, we want you to be well. So if you need these services, please, please, please reach out and use these services. Wayne also offers a basic needs and food pantry. We know that across America there are more and more college students who find themselves in need of um, basic items, including food. And Wayne has been pretty proactive in terms of making sure that our pantry is well stocked. Um, our provost made sure that it was posted on the pantry website that it's more challenging to learn when you're having your basic needs being met, right? When it takes everything in you and you're hungry, it's hard to listen to a lecture. It's really hard to prioritize something as kind of frivolous as a lecture when you're struggling to eat. And so, again, please take advantage of this resource. It is free. It is for you. Um, and it's something that Wayne wants for you. The next page, I'm not going to click on the next page, but the next page talks about sexual misconduct. There are some things that you should know from this page, things that I learned the hard way, and I want to make sure that you know just in case you were in this situation. Employees and faculty are considered responsible, and so we are obligated to report any information that is conveyed to us. Um, that can sound really good up front, but when you're going through it, sometimes that sounds not as good. But I want you to know that just in case you find yourself in that situation. You are welcome to come to me and talk to me, but know that I am responsible for reporting that information. If you need confidential support, there's a number provided on this page. It's available 24/7. It is the Rape, Abuse and Incest National Network, or RAIN. You can go to rain.org. They also have an online chat if you need a professional support specialist. I again recommend that you reach out if you need help. If you want to self report sexual misconduct, you can report it to our Title IX office. The information is listed on that page. You can also report it to our website, I'm sorry, to our police department. Um, at the bottom, I use a line from our Title IX office. Every warrior has the right to live, learn, and work at Wayne State free from harassment or discrimination. If someone has been harassing you or discriminating against you, please let us know. Please let your department know. Please let the police department know. Please let the Title IX office know. Again, just like hunger, it is really hard to prioritize an education when you are being harassed or discriminated against. Last but not least, the last page of the syllabus provides some additional reading. So if you're interested in consumer behavior, if you're interested in marketing, if you're interested in social sciences or behavioral econ, I have an entire list of books that you can consider. And I suggest that you do. I tend to find these subjects fascinating. I've read several of these books. They've always helped me kind of come up with some interesting studies in my own research, and as well as some kind of just kind of interesting knowledge about myself as a consumer and about consumers in general. That's it. That's the end of this tour. I hope you stick around and listen to the Canvas tour. And if not, though, it was good talking to you, and I'll talk to you during week 1. All right. Bye-bye. I am not going to go through this entire slide, but I do think it's important that you note that um, Title IX information is available in the syllabus. This is pretty detailed because it needs to be detailed. If you are having an issue and you need to contact someone on campus, here are the resources to do so. I strongly recommend that you do so. Um, there's a reason that these resources exist. Lastly, every semester I have students who ask me if there are kind of books that I would recommend. I always just give this list. I think these are pretty solid books that discuss consumer behavior and or consumption, usually both. And I think that there are some real winners on this list. And so if you're interested in a deeper dive, I suggest you kind of think about, reading one of these books.